It's been 4 years since the four women of Warpaint, that's Jenny Lee Lindberg on bass, Emily Kokel, and Teresa Wayman on vocals and guitars, and Stella Magzawa on drums, put out their very successful debut album, The Fool. This new album is the first one on which drummer Magzawa, the newest member, has been part of the creative process all the way through, and that has had an impact with the very upfront rhythm section on this record. We'll talk with Stella after this live performance of Disco Very. We are extremely happy that Warpaint has joined us today on the World Cafe. That is Disco Very, one of the tunes from the new self-titled, or should we say eponymous, Warpaint album. And we're getting a chance to talk with Stella Magzawa about what has happened since we last talked with you, Stella. And it's interesting that the last time we talked with you was kind of, you guys toured the first album forever. I mean, I don't have to tell you that, but yeah. It was kind of well into the process of that. And I remember when you played, I was completely engaged with the fact that I thought you were playing really, really strongly, and I didn't know if it was like muscle memory at that point, or if you were still engaged with those songs. But I'm suspecting that you learned a lot by playing out so long on that first album that maybe had something to do with how kind of muscular this album is.
Yeah, that's a really that's very perceptive of you, because that's exactly what happened. We weren't really a band the way that we are now with this lineup, the four of us. We weren't really a band till we took everything on the road and we refined who we were and made very difficult and important decisions as a group as to what our MO is and how we want to sound and how we want to present ourselves, and making more particular decisions on the next round. So that whole experience really helped us. Did it take a while for you personally, being the latecomer, to feel bandmate, feel like you were part of the whole process? Strangely, I felt like a bandmate from day one. I think that was the environment and the culture of the band in general, and we all had a feeling that it was going to work from the moment we first played music together. But it was still the first time that I contributed creatively from the ground up. When I joined the band, it was about 2 or 3 weeks before we recorded the full, which didn't leave a lot of time for change, but just mostly polishing and producing and refining ideas, as opposed to having a very expansive experimental period where everyone can contribute and get their jollies on. As far as this album is concerned, a lot of those jollies come from the low end. You and Jenny. This is a powerful, propulsive record. And in fact, I was looking at somebody's, was writing something about it coming out, and they was talking about dream pop band Warpaint. And I said, no, you haven't heard this record. Yeah, it's so interesting how different the reaction has been. And I was saying this to a journalist this morning, because I'll talk to one person in Portugal and they'll say, wow, it's amazing how ambient and quiet and relaxed this record is. And then the next person is like, wow, that song Discovery or that song High, so unexpected and so, like you say, muscular. And it's just incredible how people will just take a very small portion of a bigger thing and make assumptions about it, or make their own kind of, it's a way to understand the music better for them. And I love hearing that it's muscular a lot more than I like hearing that it's languid or relaxed or ambient. But I like the fact that we can provoke those reactions. Well, what were the adjectives tossed around while you were working? How did playing live for so long kind of change how you wanted to approach this? I think the main focus word for us in making this album was just space, because we had we just kind of threw everything in a pot on the last record, and throwing poop at a wall basically and seeing if it was going to stick. And then when we brought it out live, some things did work and some things just felt a little bit overcrowded. So we made a very conscious effort on this record to focus on things and follow ideas through, and not shift gears immediately because we have musical ADD and we need to provoke some kind of change so it remains interesting for us. I think that we found the patient route to be very satisfying on this one. We're talking with Stella, the drummer for Warpaint, about the new album. We're hearing some live versions of the tunes, and I think the first thing we heard from it was "Love Is to Die." Is that one that you all can do today? Yes.
Love is to die. Love is to not die. Love is to dance. Love is to dance. Love is to dance. Love is to dance. Love is to die. Love is to not die. Love is to dance. Love is to dance. Love is to dance and dance. Love is to die. Why don't you not die? Why don't you dance? Why don't you dance and dance and dance and dance and dance and
Love is to Die. That is Warpaint, and they are playing live for us today. The music from the new album, which, as we've been hearing, was put together in a very much of a different way than the first, The Fool. And you worked with Flood on this record. He was sort of the day-to-day producer, and then that was one of the songs that Nigel Goodrich mixed. And what happens when you have one producer tracking and another person mixing? Does a different song kind of appear sometimes?
Yeah, there were some changes between Flood's mix of that song, which originally Flood was going to mix the whole album, and he mixed most of the album except for two songs, Feeling Alright and Love Is To Die. And basically we just got to a point where we had been working every song to the bone, and we lost the magic of it a little bit, and not even the world's greatest producer, in my opinion, could really find an objective angle on it. So we got to a point, I mean, we strained him for a long time, and we got to a point where we needed some objectivity. So luckily we got, another one of the greatest producers of all time to help mix it and dust the song off, basically. Well,
that brings us to the discussion. A lot has been mentioned that this album has a lot of the beats and are quote hip hop beats, and maybe explain what that means.
Yeah, I think that if you use electronics in a more maybe conservative rock band setting, then people will either say it's electroclash or they'll say it's R&B and hip-hop influenced. And I think that we generally do sway towards the hip-hop R&B aspect of electronic music, in terms of not just the music that we listen to, but that more just the music that we're capable of producing as a band, as four musicians. And yeah, I think it's something that really is just in all four of our systems and always has been. And it's not the overriding influence, but it is something that I think there's certain decisions that are made in music like that, production decisions that you don't really see in indie rock or in pop music or alternative music or just straight up, generic rock. It's a different kind of the focus is a little bit different, and it's the repetition of one thing, and we've always been attracted to that in some sense, but it came out in a different way. So this is just the same I feel like it's the same idea, but it's just under a different microscope.
Yeah, absolutely. There's a lot to get lost in rhythmically on this album. I love the upper end of it too, but I'm really glad we're getting a chance to talk with you about some of this.
Oh, cool.
Another one you mentioned you could do is Feeling All Right. Want to do that one?
Yeah, we're going to play the song Feeling All Right for you now.
Just to dream about
Warpaint are playing live for us today, and the new album is out now. Did it feel? It sounds like you were in the weeds a bit with this record as you were working on it. Have you? I mean, it's been a while since you came off the road. What was the whole process like? I heard that something about you guys went away to Joshua Tree for a while.
We did for an entire month in March 2012. We had a sabbatical, basically. A working sabbatical, and we tore ourselves away from the clutches of Los Angeles and the big metropolis, basically just because we knew we needed something extreme to draw us away from distraction. And to be really honest, we never really had a break. I feel like we had maybe as much of a break as we would in the middle of a tour. Emily went to Egypt. A few of us went, and just spent time with our families and our loved ones and our significant others. But there wasn't just this extremely expansive downtime that people would imagine. We basically we were touring some of the fall into the end of 2012, and we started recording this album the beginning of 2013, even though a lot of the things had been written over the last year and a half prior to that.
Stella Mozgawa, thank you so much for talking with us today, and thanks to everybody for playing live.
Absolute pleasure. Thanks for having us.
Warpaint, our guest, and we'll be back in a moment here on the World Cafe.